Good morning, ladies. Hi, Hayley. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Morning. Good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Make sure I'm just going to check the Facebook group, see if there's anybody that can't get in. Alrighty. I'm just going to pop you both on mute so we don't have the interruptions for the recording. So I know a couple of people are going to be watching the replay, and I know we've got a couple that are going to be joining in a little bit late. So I'm going to give you a big warm welcome. Oh, just let Sophie in. A very big warm welcome for the Epic Marketing Virtual Workshop over the next 2 days. Hi, Sophie.
Hi, Tara.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Thank you.
Good.
So, welcome to the Epic Marketing Virtual Workshop. I'm super excited whether you're here with us live or catching the replay. Lots and lots of things for us to go through today. I'll let you know what we're going to be doing today and then what we're going to be doing tomorrow, and then we'll just dive in. I want to hear a little bit about you guys and what you're wanting to get out of this masterclass. So today we're actually going to be looking at content creation and the strategy that we can put behind content creation. We're also going to be looking at how you can really play to your strengths, which is something that I really believe in when it comes to social. We're also going to be looking at utilizing your Instagram stories as best you can and how you can be selling on social media. Tomorrow is more the nitty-gritty kind of back-end stuff of social media platforms. So we're going to be looking at your profiles, we're going to be looking at statistics and the stats that you want to look at to grow. We're going to be looking at hashtags and a hashtag strategy, and really trying to make sure that we are building your profile at the best possible way that we can, that's going to get you the best results based on what it is you're working towards. So we've got some new people here. So I'm Tara. I realized this morning it's been nearly 10 years since I started doing marketing. I was like, oh my gosh, how's it been that long? Time goes so fast, it's crazy. But lots of things that have really kind of got to this moment, I think, when it comes to the marketing side. It was actually whilst managing a pub back in 2013 that I started doing some social media management as part of my managerial role. And that was very much just thrown in at the deep end, trying to work out how to kind of get interest, get people in, and very much figure it out as I go along at that point. Then came June 2015, and I was currently unemployed. And set up my own business and started off working as a journalist and social media manager. So at that time, I was managing social media for a lifestyle website. So a website that had lots of rider interviews, they had lots of blogs, product reviews, news items on there. So I was managing their social media, as well as an interior design company and a shop. So this shop has got a number of stores in the local area in Gloucestershire. So those were like my first few social media management clients. So very different, very different clients. One was online, the other one was a lifestyle website, and then the other one was brick and mortar, actual physical shop. So very different strategies and approaches. I then started coaching in 2017. So I was sharing some of the results that I was getting on social media for my clients. And this gentleman came up to me and said, could you show me how to do that? And I said, yes, of course. Again, say yes, figure it out later, story of my life. And I said, yes, of course, I will show you how to do that. And his reach on Facebook went from 300 to 30,000 in 24 hours. From like a few tiny tweaks and creating epic content. So that was really exciting. That was the point that I really fell in love with coaching and actually helping people kind of create these results for themselves. It's amazing, I think, when that light bulb moment happens, you're like, oh, I get it now. So that's what I really want to help you guys create as well. So this masterclass will run today and tomorrow. You guys have lifetime access to the replays, so you can just dip in anytime you want a little bit of a refresh. Feel free to engage throughout this. So if you've got any questions, feel free to just pop it in the chat, or you can unmute yourselves if you wanted to share any questions or breakthroughs, those aha moments, anything like that throughout the sessions today and tomorrow. We will have time at the end of each day for Q&A as well. So if there's any questions, if I went too fast or anything, we can just go through that at the end as well. I love to actually keep these quite interactive. So I've got so many notes and so many things I want to go through, but actually I want you to be sharing things. So if there is anything on your mind, or if you want to share a specific example, or if you have a question, honestly, please do share that. Give me a chance to catch my breath as well, because I do talk very fast. I will pre-warn you now. I would actually love to know what your intention of this is. So what would you love to get out of the next few days? If you could just create anything, click your fingers, magic wand kind of stuff, what would you love to get out of the next 2 days? Feel free to just pop that in the chat for me. If there's anything in particular, and then I can just keep checking in on that and make sure that's what we're working to. So, content creation, we're going to start with. I think we're going to dive in so that we can just start tweaking some things and hopefully testing some things first. Here's a question, and you're probably thinking, why is she talking about mindset? What is your mindset around creating content? Is it like, oh yes, I get to create content? Do you feel optimistic about creating content? Do you feel that you're just like, oh God, it's such a drag creating content? What are your thoughts around creating content? So what have we got being shared in the chat? So Sophie, more engagement and actually posting regularly. Those two go hand in hand, hand in hand. Hayley, a more consistent approach to social media that generates results. Currently, it feels really ad hoc, as some stuff has great reach and engagement, other stuff doesn't, and I feel like it's impossible to predict. Yep, and I have no idea about social media for business, as I barely use it on a personal level. Oh, I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot. Thank you for sharing that. And then Hayley says, I find content really hard to create that's different, rather than just sharing the product and saying, please buy this. Oh, I love it. So good. So there are a number of things to consider when we think about creating content. Now, throughout this whole 2 days, I'm going to be sharing examples from both a service-based business perspective and a product-based business perspective. So I run the social media for my coaching business. I create all the content, I do it myself because I'm a control freak, and I think it's one of the things that is me, because it's my personal brand. And I also have a farm shop that I run with my husband. So I do all of the social media for that. So that's a physical shop. It's a self-service shop, but it's still a physical shop with products. So we're going to be sharing examples from both sides, because I think they are very, very different and require a very different strategy and approach. But the one thing that actually ties it all together is know, like, and trust, which I'm sure you've heard before. You've got to let your audience know, like, and trust you. And then the other thing that really gets missed is, how can your audience feel understood? What we mean by this is, how can your audience see something and just be like, oh my gosh, it's like she's in my head? Or how can your audience see the way that you describe something and just feel like you get them? And that applies for both products and services. So what would that look like then? When you think about your business, how can your audience feel understood? Feel free to share anything in the chat. So when we break down how somebody can feel understood, it could be that you actually get them, you get their buying decisions, you get what it is they're looking for, you get what it is that is important to them, again, from a product and service perspective. Maybe you get what that thing is that they've just been trying to find. You know, if you find something, you're just like, oh yes, this ticks all the boxes. What is that thing for your business? Maybe when we think about them being understood, it's actually also that you get where they're at. So if they are investing in you for the first time, or if they're investing in your service for the first time, or if they're buying one of your products for the first time, you get where they're at. You get what they're looking for. You get what the thing is that has made them actually want to click buy now or inquire. So how can you make your audience feel like they're understood? So have a little think about that one. When we think about the know, like, and trust, the know is very much about you. It's about your brand ethos. It's about your background. It's about what makes you special. I hate with all my passion the phrase, what makes you different? No. What makes you special? What makes you unique? What makes you passionate about what it is you do and how you sell your products or services? So what makes you special? When we think about the thing that makes you special, you can start sharing this in your social media. We'll map out the whole strategy for this later. But when you think about the thing that makes you special, this isn't saying, well, I'm Tara and I do business and mindset, and therefore that makes me special. It's about like peeling back the layers of the onion and stripping it back to like the core of your business. It's looking at your journey here. It's looking at what I call crunch points that have got you here. And it's really starting to think about how we can share those. And again, we're going to pick all of this apart in today's session. Do have a little think about what your brand ethos is as well. Because I think this is something that you don't have to necessarily be saying to people, my brand ethos is this. But you can start sharing your brand ethos as a way of connecting with your audience. So when I think about my brand ethos, it's to help people. It's to help them create what they want to create in their lives and business. Hi, Kelly. It's really about making sure that people can believe in themselves, like the anything is possible kind of mantra that I live by. That's part of my brand ethos. So when I think about my brand ethos, I'm going to be sort of sharing this very subtly throughout the content that I share. So let's say, for example, that somebody tagged me in a post or sent me a really, really nice message. I could screenshot that and share it with a lovely little sentence or two that says, oh my gosh, messages like this make my day. Like, I love getting to help people. It's the most amazing thing. So it aligns to my brand ethos of helping people without me saying, I just love helping people. So think about the know aspect, know, like, and trust, the know aspect. What is your mission? What is your brand ethos? What is the thing that you love doing within your company? And how can this start to come? How can this start to come through in your content? Yeah, Sophie's put in the chat, I'm a country horsey person, just like the clients I work with. That's a huge piece. If you are basically your own role model or ideal client, you are your best case study, that's absolutely perfect. Because I'm sure you've heard the phrase, people buy from each other. No, people like each other when they're like each other. So if you've got something in common with your ideal client, yes, Hayley, I'm definitely my ideal client. I think I am as well, actually. When I think about the sort of person I want to work with, I'm like, they're high vibe, they probably swear, they like nice things. Actually, that's not a bad thing. So how can you make your audience feel more understood if you feel like you are the ideal client? So think about that one. The like aspect. So we've got no, like, trust, like. This can be your personality, your demeanor, what you stand for, your way of running your business, your way of writing content, your way of positioning things, your way of picking, hand selecting gorgeous products. This is much more about you. And I think actually this is where sometimes a disconnect happens, because people almost shy away from putting themselves out there, or from being the face behind the brand, or from actually sharing a little bit about them. I think personality has got a huge amount to do with business, a huge amount. So I recently had an interaction with a company that I've been doing a bit of work with. I'm their client and I've been doing a bit of work with them. And I asked some questions, it's all techie stuff. I asked some questions and I received this email back that was just a little bit short. And I thought, oh God, I've asked the wrong questions. I'm so clueless at all this sort of stuff. I've asked the wrong questions. They seem really angry at me. And I didn't think anything of it, just brushed it past. And I had a little think later, and I was having a conversation with one of my clients about this. And we were talking about emojis and exclamation marks. If we've ever had any chats in the DMs or WhatsApp or anywhere, you'll know I love exclamation marks and emojis because I just feel it aligns to like my personality. I love, literally, I'll put 10 exclamation marks on something if I'm like super excited, like, yeah, oh my God, let's do this. The exclamation marks. And my client was like, I find them really sassy. I was like, oh, fuck. Do you think I'm always being sassy when I WhatsApp you? And she was like, no, but I wouldn't use them myself because, you know, I've got a corporate role. I feel very professional. I'm a professional woman. But I find them really sassy. I was like, oh, that's really interesting. So when you think about your personality, I want you to also think about the personality of your brand. Are you somebody that loves an emoji? Are you somebody that finds exclamation marks like the spawn of the devil? Because we want to really, really start thinking about how we can just fine-tune the brand so that it can just be so authentically you, or it can be so authentically your company. And you just know that that is the personality of your brand through and through. So we can have a whole conversation about exclamation marks, I feel. Are we like pro exclamation marks or do we think they're sassy? I don't know. But it's important that we kind of have this awareness around actually what our brand is, because your social media is one tiny arm of your whole brand. And when we talk about your brand, it's not just your logo. It's the words, the language, the feel, it's how you make people feel. It's what people say about you if they're having a conversation about you over a glass of wine in the pub. So really start thinking about the personality of your brand and the personality of you. And then lastly, the trust is your client reviews, it's your authenticity, it's feedback, it's how you can position yourself as an expert. So if you are somebody that is positioning yourself as an expert, how can that build the trust with your clients? And we touched on, you know, your audience feeling understood at the beginning. When somebody can get to know, like, and trust you, they will just feel understood. So when we think about actually creating content with a strategic approach, we want to be thinking, how can people get to know, like, and trust you through your content? And then once you've got that little magic trio all aligned, they will naturally start to feel more understood, because they'll feel like they're part of your brand. They'll feel like they know you. They'll feel like they have some emotional connection to what it is you do. So have a little think about how people can get to know, like, and trust you. When we think of creating a content strategy, I want you to have that in the back of your mind, along with this. How do you want people to feel when they engage with your content? When they open your Instagram and they look at it for the first time, or they see your post, like, what's that feeling that you want to generate in them? Is it a feeling of excitement? Is it a feeling of, oh, look at that gorgeous picture? Is it a feeling of like, yes, let's do this? Is it a feeling of desire, perhaps, because they really, really want what it is you have to offer? Is it a feeling of just feeling really good? Do you create content that makes people feel good in themselves? So really start to think about how you want people to feel. So for me and my brand, I want people to feel like anything is possible. I want them to feel excited. I want them to feel like they have potential, like they can do it too, like they can dream bigger. I want them to feel that excitement. You know, when you just feel so excited about what's coming, or you just feel really connected to your business, that feeling. So have a little think about what that feeling is for your brand. And then we want that feeling through everything, through all of your social media, through your blog, if you have a blog, through your email marketing, if you do email marketing, if you have a communication with a client or somebody in your audience. How can we have that feeling coming through consistently? Now, when we think about content, I'm going to break this down in terms of what I do for my coaching business and what I do for my farm shop, because they are, like I said, polar opposites, which has been a real learning. So my coaching business, all of my social media content is around value. It's educational. It's giving you tips and hacks and strategies. It's giving you pointers so that you can start to implement some of these things. And the reason for that, and I've always done this with my coaching business, I want to help you. Like, that's the biggest thing for me, is I really, really want to help you. And I want people to get results from my social media. As a service-based business person, as a coach, I know so many people that actually shy away from that and say, well, no, I don't want to put everything online because what are people going to pay me for? The difference as a service provider between giving content away on social media, giving advice through your content, and coaching somebody or supporting somebody in a paid container is that the content on your social media is generic. It's like, here's 5 ways to grow your audience. Here's 10 ways to create content, but it's not specific to you and your business. It is just generic. Whereas when somebody pays for the service that you provide, they're paying for specificity. I can never say that word. They're paying for specifics. They're paying for specific advice for their business. They're paying for a specific strategy for their business. So if you are a service provider and you're wanting to position yourself as an expert and show up in a way that is going to educate your audience and give them lots of value, just think about how you can kind of break it down in terms of the generic advice that you might give for your social media versus the specific advice that somebody would pay you for. I hope that makes sense. One of the other things that I have recently started doing, been meaning to do for, I'd say, years, recently started doing, is actually sharing case studies. So this is where I say to one of my clients, right, tell me some of the results that you have got through us working together, and I build it into a case study. So I did this, I think it was November or December, with one of my clients called Emma. She's a photographer, and she invested £111 in a really, really short program I did. She invested £111 in a really, really short program I did, and 10x'd her investment. And honestly, her mindset shift is insane, like absolutely amazing. I asked her for a testimonial, and because she's a photographer, she's really good with pictures. She's less good with words. And I've seen this quite a lot with quite a few photographers that I've worked with. They're great at pictures, imagery, design, making things look pretty. That's their thing. Words sometimes come a little harder. So I basically voice noted her one day and I said, look, Emma, this is the thing. Your mindset shift has been amazing, absolutely amazing. What would you say some of like the wins are from you doing that little mindset program I did? And she shared that she had 10x'd the investment in sales. She felt really good in herself. And I'm like, well, that's amazing in itself. And she felt really good about her pricing. So I put this into a case study and I said, look, this is how my client Emma 10x'd her investment with me, now feels amazing and feels really great with pricing and selling on social media. I then basically told the story of Emma's journey and said, you know, she joined this program last year. This was the investment. This is how she used the program. She dips back into the replays whenever it feels good for her. And she's actually used Instagram DMs. So anytime there's a question or a breakthrough or an aha moment, she shares it. So I can celebrate that with her, which really helps anchor in this feeling that she's created. So I put that case study together. So that case study actually showcased how somebody went from investing in something that was like £111 to how they've generated over £1,000 and what that looks like for them and how they've done it. That makes it really relatable because it was a lower price point offer, because she has created amazing results. There's tangible results there as well. And I just put it together in this case study. So it works a lot better than me just sharing her testimonial, which was a couple of sentences saying, my mindset is great, I'd recommend Tara. So think about how you can put case studies together. Case studies can just paint more of the whole picture. Case studies are also a brilliant thing. If somebody's just on the fence and they're like, oh, shall I, shan't I, shall I, shan't I? and they see that thing and they're like, oh my God, look at this great result that Emma just got. She bought that thing and now look at her. It's sometimes that little thing that just gives people the last thing they need to see to trust you enough to buy. That being said, I love case studies. I also share a lot of what is called social proof. So I am at a point with my social media now that I get a lot of messages from people that have actually got results from my podcast, from people that have actually got results from my free social media content, as well as from people that have been through programs or that I'm currently working with. So anytime I get a really, really nice message from somebody just saying, oh, thank you so much for, mindset mastery, that was so good. Like, these are the shifts that I've had. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll screenshot that. I crop their name out because that just feels better for me. And I can share that on social media. That social proof is something that I have set that I do regularly, like a couple of times a week at least. And I will add that to my Instagram stories. So again, it's all of these little things that are going to be helping those people that are on the fence, or the people that are like, oh gosh, I really want to do that thing. And then they just see a little message or something and they're just like, yeah, oh my gosh, yes, that I've seen what I need to see now. When it comes to the social proof and the case studies, I always crop name out of the social proof. And with the case studies, I do ask the person if I can tag them or if they want to be named. Sometimes they don't, because I do quite a lot of deep mindset work with people. And sometimes I might share a story or a case study of something that might be a little bit personal for them. I've got some clients that work in the corporate world who really don't want to be tagged on social media. So I would always check. And if they say, I don't want to be named, that's fine. I can still share a case study with no specifics. I just wouldn't share their name or tag them. So just have a little think about what that would look like for you. A lot of the time, people are happy for you to use their name or to be tagged, but always do just double check. We also want to think, and again, this is still from the service perspective, of what the service is that you actually provide. So you want your content to align to what you offer or what you teach or the service that you provide. So to give you an example of this, I've got three main programs: the Sprint Success, which is 12 weeks, the Bellini Mastermind is 6 months, and then the Magnum Mastermind is 9 months. Throughout all of that, there are 3 main things that I talk about in so many different ways: mindset, money, and marketing. Those are like 3 of the main things that I talk about on my social media. I can do Pinterest coaching, but I do it so few times, so few and far between, that it's not going to take up a huge amount of my social media. So really make sure that your content aligns to the service that you provide. And it doesn't matter if it feels like, oh, I've talked about mindset before on social media, because again, we're going to look at the whole strategy around that in terms of how we can get maximum mileage out of your main content pillars. Okay. The other thing to consider is actually the language and like wording that your inquiries and customers and clients use. So I remember last year, somebody messaged me and she said, oh, I'd like to sign up to this, but I can't join anything live. I can't join any of the sessions live. Is that a problem? And I was like, no, of course it's not. And I actually recognized that last year that happened a lot. People are busy, people have got their jobs or they're out on the road, they can't always join the live sessions. So I kind of recognized that actually some people just buy for the replays. We've got it in this program as well. Some people just buy for the replays. So when I'm promoting something, I always say that there's lifetime access to the replays. So people know that they've always got the replays. You don't have to join live. If you can, that's amazing. And you'll benefit from asking questions and engaging. But I kind of recognize that a lot of people just want to buy it to have it. So really think about the things that people say when they inquire and really think about the language that they use. If you are overcomplicating what it is you do, you will lose people. So here's an example of that. I have 4 coaching qualifications: NLP practitioner, timeline therapy, and a hypnotherapy. If I was to go on social media and be like, okay, we can do some NLP and hypnotherapy, you'd be like, what? I want help with my business and I want to believe in myself. What's that got to do with anything? So yes, I've got those qualifications. They aren't a marketing message. That's not content that I'm going to be sharing, because people won't get what it means. So think about the language that your ideal clients use. Think about the language that your current clients and your audience use, and make sure your content is in that language. If people have to try and work out what something means, you've lost them. I also want to think about crunch points. And actually, this applies for both product and service-based businesses. Crunch points are those little moments where you could have gone one of 2 ways. You went this way, and now you're here where you are today. It could have been the moment that you decided that you wanted to do what you do today. It could have been something that got you on this path. It could have been having the most amazing shopping experience and thinking, oh, I'd love to offer that for somebody. It could be the first picture you took. It could be the first time you bonded with an animal. Like, all of these little moments are crunch points. It works really, really well to have about 3 to 5 crunch points. So these can be those little milestone moments where you could have gone one of 2 ways. You went this way. You are where you are today. So the reason that these work really well is, again, it's putting a little bit of personality into it, and it's sharing your journey. You, the person behind the social media. It's those little moments that people can connect with you over. It's something that they're actually likely to remember. And it's something that actually is going to, again, put a little bit more personality into what you do. So how I use this in my coaching business is, I know that there have been certain moments. So June 2015 was a big one. I hated my job. I was hideously unhappy. They tried to change my contract. I said no, worked a 3-day handover, £200 in my bank, not a penny of savings, suddenly unemployed. Ooh, let's try this business thing. Let's try and just be a journalist and social media manager. That was a crunch point, because I had to make a decision. And that decision where I worked was like, right, going this way, got me to this exact moment today. Other ones might be April 2017. So I shared this one recently on my social media. April 2017, absolute rock bottom. Lost 2 clients on one day, was owed thousands of pounds. And it's like, fuck, what am I going to do? How can I get out of this mess? I don't know. Hired my first coach for £97. That moment is a crunch point. I've told that story so many times that one of my clients told it back to me the other day. She said, Tara, I know I'm going through a really tough time right now, but I just keep playing your April 2017 story in my head. I think, right, Tara got through it, so I'll be fine too. So sometimes those crunch points have an amazing outcome. Sometimes they're just there for the purposes of telling your story. With the farm shop, crunch points for that one might be, my husband and I have been producing amazing quality grass-fed Aberdeen Angus beef for years, and we decided that we wanted to actually sell that direct to the consumer. So crunch point for us would have been seeing the vending machines that we have now in our shop. We saw them in 2019 at a show. Another crunch point would be actually getting this farm, because we needed the farm to make the farm shop. Another crunch point would be opening in March last year. So it's all these little moments that have played such a big part in creating the story. So a little exercise for you would actually be to think about your 3 to 5 crunch points. You will absolutely have them, even if you think you don't, you will. And I would love to hear them when you have them. So we've had a little chat about the kind of content for coaching service-based business. Now for product/physical store that you might have. So the way that I'm currently managing the farm shop social media is I post, I'm going to say daily. I haven't this week, small task of book launch going on. Normally post 7 times a week with a product pretty much every day. And then 1 or 2 posts a week are like the brand ethos, behind the scenes, or educational content. So the reason for that is we want to be really current with like all the new products. We've always got new products coming in. We've got so many products that we can talk about. We love telling the story behind the product as well. We love telling the story about the brand that we support or the local producer. So constantly sharing that story with the products. But then there is also this kind of the behind the scenes, the brand ethos, and the educational content. That is always the content that does best. Quite annoyingly, it's always the content that does best. So it's thinking about, okay, what's our mission as a company? What are we really, what do we pride ourselves in? What's the thing that's really important to us? So it's things like supporting local, small, independent farmers and producers. It's rearing things in a sustainable manner. It's really low food miles. It's helping people understand about the provenance of their food. So those things are kind of like the brand ethos, it's the educational content, it's a little bit behind the scenes, you know, when we're doing like research for new products or product tastings, those sorts of things. And that just gives a nice mix of content. So it's something that actually breaks up, here's a product, here's a product, here's a product, here's a product. It's like, okay, why? Why do we choose these products? What is it about these products that kind of draws us in? With the behind the scenes content, people are nosy. People love to know what's going on behind the scenes. They love to know, like, it's not the rags to riches story as such, but it's like, they want to know the transformation. They want to know the how. They want to know, well, why did you choose that? They want to know, oh, why did you set up your business? People just love that behind the scenes. That's why reality TV works so much, because we're nosy buggers. So how can you start to think about the behind the scenes of your company? There's also a very, very good way that you can actually use this as really subtle subconscious selling. The way that I kind of use this from the farm shop perspective, and what I mean by subtle subconscious selling is you're kind of promoting, but without saying, oh, here's this thing, try this, buy this, please. Here's this thing, come buy this. And one of the ways that I do that is if I'm tasting new products, then I'll put a little picture on and say, oh, product tasting today, this is delicious. Who likes shortbread, for example? Or if we were cooking some of the meat, and I put a picture on saying, oh, I'm cooking steak this evening. Subtle, subconscious selling. From the coaching perspective, it's sharing some of the things that I do with my clients. So if I've just finished a call with one of my clients and I come off and I'm like, oh, just an amazing call. This is what we mapped out. This is the mindset work we just did. This is the strategy that we just created. It's like the behind the scenes. It's letting people kind of know what you've got going on, what you're up to in a really kind of, it's very subtle subconscious selling. We also have to think about how we can make it really, really, really easy for people to find us, for people to know how to buy from us, and for people to pay us. So think about how you can simplify that in your business. You know, if you have a physical presence somewhere or a physical shop, how often do you tell people, this is where we're at? You can find us on Google Maps, or here's our what three words. Or if you are an online store, how often do you tell people, click the link in my bio? Or how often do you take people to your website or take them where you want them to go? Because I think a lot of the times people will kind of do this once and then forget. Or you assume that you put it on there 3 days ago, so they should be able to find it, they should see it. People are very lazy on social media. Very, very lazy. This is something I've definitely learned with the farm shop, particularly the Facebook. The amount of people that will comment saying, where are you? And they could very easily click on the profile and the pinned post says exactly where we are. But people are lazy. They want like the instant gratification. They want to know now. They don't really want to have to click something. They just want to know now. So how can you think about that with your business? How can you make sure that you are almost giving people everything that they need without them having to ask? Because half of the people won't bother asking. Half of them will. Half of them won't bother asking. So really start to think about the things that people need to see about your brand, to know, like, and trust you, and to feel understood, and to easily be able to buy from you. Now, here's a thought. What do you look for? Or what is it that you see when you see somebody's social media? What is it that you really like about it? Oh, this is a great question. What are your views about having pinned price lists on social media for art commissions? Yes, 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 do it. So, brilliant question. On Instagram, you can have 3 pinned posts, which is just wonderful. It's one of the best things that Instagram, I think, has ever done. And I know that's a really bold statement. I think this is absolute gold. Think about social media. Know, like, trust. You've got 3 pinned posts on Instagram. How can one be about knowing you? How can one be about liking you? And how can one be about trusting you? Now, we're going to talk about selling on social media in a second, but actually one of the ways to think about selling on social media is to have a really, really clear post that says, this is how to work with me. That's one of my pinned posts on Instagram, ways to work with me. Because I've got lots of things, lots of options, lots of availability, lots of different prices, packages, programs, all the things. But it's a really good place to just say, right, this is what we've got coming up in Q1. So yes, definitely do it. Make sure you've got a really clear call to action in that one as well. So again, we need to almost tell people, okay, this is the next step. Okay, this is what I want you to do. Here's the information. DM me to inquire or DM me to book a complimentary call. Give them a clear call to action. With social media as well, when we think about call to actions, again, you've got to think about how people are using the platform. So when people are in Instagram, they're in Instagram. So people are in Instagram, they're in Instagram mindset, they're on that platform, they're watching stories or they're scrolling or they're liking and double tapping and commenting and all the things. Your call to action has got to align to them being in the Instagram platform. So when you have a call to action in Instagram, think about how you can kind of generate that inquiry or generate that interest through telling them to DM, through telling them to click the link in your bio. If you put a link in the actual Instagram post, people can't click it, so that won't work. They're never, ever, ever going to type the whole URL into their browser. So we've got to make sure that the call to actions align to that mindset they're in. When they're in the Instagram hole, make sure your call to actions align to them being in the Instagram hole. DM me to find out more. They're also probably not very likely to ring. So really just make sure that call to action aligns to them being in Instagram. So we're going to have a little chat about actually creating a strategy about content. I'm going to touch on video first. Last year, good old Instagram said it was turning into a video platform. TikTok was booming and thriving, and I am not the TikTok person because I'm clueless on it. But it was growing and thriving, and like TikToks were just going absolutely viral, like crazy, crazy reach. And Instagram's like, pull up a chair, I fancy a bit of this action. So it said that it was prioritizing video content. At the start of this year, they took that back. And they were like, actually, guys, we've changed our mind. You can carry on doing pictures and carousels and pretty things, and that's fine. Good old ever-changing world of social media, hey. So video, yes, it's great. If you aren't a video person, don't use video. To be very honest, I want you to play to your strengths. Words are my strength. If you've ever seen my posts, they are very long because I have a lot to say. So I'm going to keep creating content, and I know that the best way that I can create content is through words. If you are somebody that is brilliant at video editing, oh my gosh, play to your strength. Have fun with it. But if you're not, like me, it's fine. I have posted every single day in January. I think I've probably done 2 reels, and they were the most basic reels you will ever see. And I probably have more inquiries than ever. Engagement, DMs, it's just been epic, absolutely epic. So I want you to recognize your strengths here. Yes, video is a great way for people to get to see you. I remember I had a meeting a couple of years ago with a client, and I'd never met her in person. We met in a pub, we went for lunch, and I walked in, she was like, oh my God, you're just like you are on Instagram. I'm like, yeah, you bet. I haven't got time to have 2 different bloody personalities. So think about, what are your strengths? If you feel like you want to try video, be you. It doesn't matter if you swear. It doesn't matter if you fluff your words. It doesn't matter if the dog humps your arm, been there. It doesn't matter if you're doing a live and then your phone rings, been there. It doesn't matter if you don't get a power cut, been there. Like most of the things that could go wrong on video, they've gone wrong on video. And I'm just like, you know what? This is real life. So if you're wanting to give video a go, start with something that you are just passionate about. If you have a pet, if it could be that you set your phone up here whilst you're doing your artwork and just record your magical talents. It could be that you create a video of you actually packing one of your parcels, or a video of you filming your screen as you're editing something. So there are different ways that we can get a bit creative with using video without you having to sit here and talk to the camera and be like, so today I'm going to give you 3 ways to do this, because that can feel daunting. But again, play to your strengths. I will hold my hands up and say, I'm not the reels person. I am just not, and I'm fine with that now. I'm like, I'm just going to get really wordy. So play to your strengths. Work out what sort of content you like creating. Tomorrow's session is going to be really looking, like I said, the back end of all the social media. So we're going to be looking at the stats. So we can start to see, firstly, what you like creating, but also actually what your audience likes engaging with. And we're going to be looking at that from a saves on Instagram and shares on Instagram perspective, because that's always really interesting when you actually start looking into that, into those statistics. So, strategy. Personally, hate the word. I think it just sounds very dull, but it is what it says it is, and so we're going to go with it. I need to think of a better word. We're going to look at 2 strategies here. We're going to look at your grid or your feed. So that's the main post that you do, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Instagram, if anyone's on Twitter. I don't think anyone's on Twitter anymore, are they? It's the main post that you create. And then we're going to look at a strategy specifically for Instagram stories, because that is one of the best pieces that you can use for your business. So let's look at the grid. The best stats for Instagram are saves and shares. So when people save your content or they share it to their story. And on Facebook, it's reach. People get really hung up on likes and comments. They're irrelevant, literally irrelevant to the algorithm. So the algorithm, what happens when you post, the algorithm sees that you've posted and it will push it out to a tiny percentage of your audience. It's about 2% of your audience will see that post. If those 2 people happen to save it or share it to their story, or like and comment, but the saves and shares are the one that Instagram's really looking at, it'll then say, right, 3 people have saved this post. It must be good. If 3 people have saved it, it must be good. Let's push it out a bit further. So it pushes it out to another 2%. And we're like, woohoo, 4% of my followers have now seen this. Great. And again, if those people have liked it, it's like, okay, let's push it a little bit further. We might go up to an extra 3% now. So now we're at like 7% of your audience have seen your piece of content. That's how the algorithm dictates who sees what. So when you create a piece of content, you almost want the eyes on it as soon as you can, because that's then going to make the algorithm push it out even further. So when we think about a strategy behind the grid or the feed posts that you create, firstly, we want to be thinking know, like, and trust. We want to be thinking about your brand. So remember, that's the feeling that you want people to think about. And then if you really want to take this to the next level, we want to be thinking, right, what is the savable content and what is shareable content? So to give you an example of how this works for my coaching business, something that's going to get saved is normally like, here's 21 books that I love, or 21 books you need in your life. It's something people can keep coming back to. It's not time sensitive. It's not something that it's just like, read it once, okay, you're done. It's something people want to keep coming back to. I think the one that has been saved the most that I've ever done, and I want to say it's been saved about 70 odd times, is 43 journaling prompts. Just 43, because that was how many I came up with, 43 journaling prompts. And I think we had something like 6 different scenarios. So for each scenario, there was a handful of journaling prompts. It's something people are going to keep coming back to. The shareable content it's that thing that people relate to. They see it and they're like, oh my God, yes. It's something that maybe they feel themselves or that they've been going through. It's something that is quite motivational or inspiring or like, yes, 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 let's do this. It's that sort of content that gets the shares. From the farm shop perspective, the saves is here's how I cook roast beef, for example. The shares might be if we've got a new product in store. Sometimes some of our raving fans will share that to their story. So when I'm sitting down and creating my coaching content, I do it completely organically every single day, firstly, but I sit down on a Monday and I have a rough plan for the week. So that rough plan will say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I will say, right, one day I'm going to talk about mindset. The next day I'm going to talk about money. The next day I'm going to talk about marketing. Then I'm going to go back to mindset. Then I'm going to pop in a little story. Then I'm going to talk about business growth. Then I'm going to talk about hiring a team member. So I've got 7 rough ideas for a post or for my week of posts. What I then do is think, right, which of these are no, which of these are like, which of these are trust? And then beyond that, which are the saves, which are the shares? That is how I plan my social media. It's very basic. Again, I'll hold my hands up to that. I'm a basic bitch and I want to do things that work and that I find easy. It's basic, but it's ticking all the boxes. No, like, trust, saves, shares. So I know that then I've got a nice mix of content that aligns to the service that I offer. Similarly with the farm shop, although it is even more basic for the farm shop, it's, right, what products do we have coming in this week? What products are back in stock? What's a new product? Is there something that I can educate my audience that's quite relevant, quite timely? And then is there anything that's kind of the saves and the shares? The saves and the shares happens a lot less, I will say, for the farm shop. Just thinking off the top of my head, Hayley, something like outfit ideas, ways to wear a certain colour, something like that, I think would be both savable and shareable, just while I thought of it there. So we've got no, like, and trust. We've got saves and shares. And we have to remember that underlying feeling. So what is the feeling you want somebody to feel when they engage with you, when they see that piece of content? That has got to be there consistently. That's one of the most important things about building a brand. But a lot of people miss it. Now, another question that I love to ask people, and that I would love for you guys to consider, is what do people say they love about you or your account? What do people say they love about your business? Do they say they love your tone of voice? Do they love your vibe? Do they love the pictures that you create? Do they love how you write text? You write your captions? Do they love how you present your Instagram stories? What would they say that they would love about you? Because that's always a really telling way of how people perceive your brand. So I would say I hear quite a lot that people love, like, my authenticity. The fact that I will share a lot of things on my social media, highs, lows, challenges, all of the things, because I think it's so important to be sharing like the highs and the lows of business. Passion and excitement comes up quite a lot. So I do get very excited, I will admit, about my work, about my clients, about the results that they get, all of these things. So I know that if people are sharing that to me, I have to keep that in mind as well. Oh, Hayley, this is good. People often say they love the personal service they get, but it feels super cringe to say that. So I would pick apart personal service. What is the personal service that they get, or how do you give a personal service? Feel free to unmute yourself if you want to.
So it's a bit of a weird one, I think. So people will often say, oh, you're always around to like answer questions or help me to pick like the right thing, or you know, you're always around on your customer group and kind of chatting, or it's just like a super personal service that you get. But it just feels really cringy to say that. And I'm not sure that actually people care, but I'm just not sure that that would really attract people to come and shop with me over another competitor.
With regards to, let's say, helping somebody pick a product, when somebody then sends you that message saying, oh my gosh, thank you for helping me pick a product, I could not pick between the turquoise and the pink, and actually you're so right, because I've got this color horse, this color is best for me. You can use that as social proof. So you don't have to say, I offer a personal service, but you can screenshot that, crop somebody's name out, and just say, oh, love receiving these messages. So that's a really subtle subconscious way of saying we offer a personal service. If you don't know what you want to buy, just send me a message, without actually saying, we offer this. We offer a really personal service. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I like that.
So I think there's so much that I think when you start building, again, it is building the brand, where you build these relationships with your audience and you build these relationships with your ideal clients and your customers. Those messages are like absolute gold dust. They really, really are. So think about how you can start to trickle those in as part of your strategy as well. I've actually got a whole folder on my phone with all of these screenshots, like years worth. So actually, if ever I needed anything, I know that they're all in there. So think about other things that people might say that they love about your account. Do you provide inspiration? Do they love seeing the process that you go through? Do they love seeing you? Do they actually love seeing what you get up to on a weekend? Again, people are nosy. FOMO is such a massive thing, the fear of missing out. People don't want to feel like they're missing out. So think about what the people say they love about you and your brand, and think about how you can start to bring this in. How can you get the feedback? Do you just ask? A couple of ways. So when somebody has kind of been through a coaching program, we actually send them a feedback form that they can fill in. Sometimes I'll actually message somebody. So for an example, I had a client, one of my one-to-one clients, we did a mindset call last week. She's just having a bit of a challenging time. And we just did like this really deep mindset call. And afterwards she was like, oh my God, I feel so much better. Thank you. And I just messaged her the next day and I said, just checking in, what are the positives? How are you feeling? Is there anything I can do to support today? So I kind of prompted her to send me a message about how she was feeling after our session. And she voice noted me back, and I love a voice note. I'm like, can't screenshot that and crop that, can I? Sorry, can you type that to me? But she replied and just said, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. It's like the whole weight of the world has been lifted, and I'm so excited for my plan and to move forwards into next month. And I kind of guided that a little bit with the questions that I was asking, but also just kind of giving her permission, I think, to kind of share that. So a couple of things, yes, absolutely ask for feedback. We also have in the Farm Shop a guest book, so that works quite well if you have a physical presence. There is also things like you could run competitions for people to give you feedback. So I actually ran a competition for the Farm Shop last summer where I said you have to come in, take a picture of you being here, tag us on social media with what you love about our farm shop. Notice the language there with what you love. So people can say, oh my gosh, I love this farm shop because, not just saying, let us know what you think. What do you love? Language. And then everybody was tagging us, and then somebody won a £50 hamper. So sometimes you can actually look at how you can encourage the feedback to try and actually get people doing it in a way that you want to collate it. And again, keeping it really, really easy. And that will be different, I think, for so many different businesses, but keeping it easy to increase your chances of it coming back. One thing you can do as well is actually send messages with set questions. So a lot of people are actually quite poor at writing testimonials. They're quite poor at it. So what questions could you ask them to increase the chances of you getting the feedback or the testimonial that you really want? So instead of just saying, how was your experience? Would you recommend? Perhaps saying, what did you love the most about the buying process? What was your outcome? What was the delivery of the product like? What was the quality of the product like? What was the outcome of the thing that you did, or what was the result? So you can actually guide it quite carefully and quite specifically there. Tone of voice is another one. When we think about the grid or the feed, tone of voice. Are you quite a serious, I think, exclamation marks are sassy? Or are you somebody that is quite fun? Is your brand quite fun? Are you quite confident and self-assured with what you have to say? So really think about the tone of voice. And this might change. This might change over time. I'd say I'm more confident with what I have to say now than ever. So I can create content that kind of aligns to that. I can almost, not chopsy, I'm not going to say I can be chopsy, but I can almost stand so much in what I believe in that I can say, you know, these are things that you are potentially doing wrong in your life and business, because I believe in what I have to say so much. I'll be fun, kind of tongue-in-cheek, emojis and exclamation marks, obviously with it, but think about the tone of voice of what you have to say. If you are quite a serious person anyway, and your brand is quite serious, that's perfect. You do not have to be like the person that you see that has the results. You do not have to fit a mold to create success in your business, within your marketing, within your sales strategy. You really don't, but you have got to get clear on what that is for you so that you can just be even more you, because you will attract those people. I have got people that, well, there are people that wouldn't want to work with me because I'm not serious enough. I'm serious about you getting results, but we're going to have fun doing it. And there's going to be swearing and high vibiness and exclamation marks and emojis. Welcome to the show. Whereas there would be some people that they are such fun people, they actually wouldn't want to work with a person that was really really serious, really full stops, to the point. And that's perfect. So work out what that is for you. Work out the tonality and the tone of voice of what it is that you do. With regards to Instagram stories are phenomenal for what they can do. It ticks so many of the boxes for what people actually want. So firstly, they're brilliant for the behind the scenes. You know, people are nosy. They love seeing behind the scenes. They love knowing what you're up to. They love knowing how you pack your products. They love knowing what you do on your office days. People are just so nosy. So nosy. I love it. So how can you use that within your business? We also have to think this. The vast majority of the people that watch your Instagram stories are your raving fans. They want more of you. If you look through the people that actually watch your stories, it's most likely going to be the same people all of the time, same people you engage with all of the time. They're always there. They're very consistent. They just like seeing what you've got going on. They are also the people that are most likely to buy from you. So, question, do you have a sales strategy for your stories? If we've got this pool of people that are your raving fans, do you give them the option to buy from you? Do you give them the opportunity to know what you've got going on? Do you give them the opportunity to see what you have to offer? To see the work that you do? To see how you do things? When you start to have this awareness as well, these things just become like second nature. I do not want you to be sat here thinking, oh my God, there's so much to do. We've got to sit down on a Monday and do the plan and do the stories and social proof and all the things. When you start to be more aware of this and the potential it can have with creating what you want to create as your business, it just becomes second nature. But it might take a bit of guidance or a bit of training your brain to start with. I would say I now think about social media, like content creation, whether it's grid or stories, most of the time, not intentionally, but my mind is just always thinking about stories and content and the grid and how I can support my audience even more, how I can show up even more, how I can connect on an even deeper level with my audience even more. So when you're going about your day, just start to think about whether actually the fact that you've just been for a meeting in a gorgeous coffee shop would be interesting to your audience or not. And test it. Try out all of these different things. And think as well about the behind the scenes for your stories. Think about the sales for your stories. And then think about that subtle and subconscious promo that we mentioned about. Here's this new product I'm tasting. Here's this great conversation I just had with somebody. Here's this thing that I've just hosted. Really subtle subconscious ways. Now, my sales strategy for my Instagram stories, for my coaching business, I said that I sit down on a Monday and I say, right, this is my grid content, Monday through Sunday. These are the things, got the know, like, and trust, and we've got saves and shares. Next to that, in column number 2, I have got my stories sales plan. So a couple of weeks ago, I had a workshop that I was hosting, that was last week. I had a mindset masterclass that I was hosting, which I think was also last week. Had the book coming out yesterday, so obviously wanted to be doing quite a bit around that. Had this masterclass, and there's also the retreat in March. There's the Spirit Success Accelerator starting in Feb. So there's quite a lot going on behind the scenes. So I want to make sure that I've got a plan for my sales on my stories, for promoting these things, so that I know that I'm being consistent with promoting my offers without actually missing something quite key. If you really want to take this to the whole new level, consider this. When I was doing that plan for last week, and I knew that there was a day that I was going to be promoting this marketing workshop, my piece of content on my grid that day was about marketing. So that I share the grid post to my story, and then a couple of stories later, I've got this marketing workshop. Same with the in-person workshop. I might do a post about, getting people together or hosting in-person events. And then the sales promo that I'm going to do in my stories is about the in-person workshop. Just so it all kind of aligns. To kind of show an example of how this might not work, or a way to avoid doing this, let's say I created a piece of content about these are the 3 things to consider when you start your business. And I share that to my story. And then the thing that I promote on my Instagram stories is 12 months, high level, one-to-one coaching, 5-figure investment, big, if you're really ready to scale and go to the next level, here's this big thing. And we've gone from, here's some tips for a brand new business, to this big program that is actually more for people that are established and wanting to scale or grow. There's a bit of a disconnect there. That's if you really, really want to take like the alignment between grid and story to the next level. Just something to consider. So how can you give your raving fans more of what they want? What do they want? When you actually start sharing a little bit more behind the scenes, a little bit more about the work you do, a little bit more sales on your Instagram stories, you'll start to get a feel for what sort of content people actually like. And when we think about the stories, it's actually the content that people engage with and reply to. So if people are replying with an emoji, or if they're saying, oh my gosh, I love this, or, oh, I didn't know you read that, or, oh yes, I do that when I start my day as well. Those are the things that are actually going to get people to engage with you that little bit more. So think about what that could look like in your business. What are the things that can get people to know, like, and trust you that little bit more? Oh, Hayley can't get back in. When you think about the social media accounts that you love engaging with, what is it that you enjoy looking at? What are the things that you really, really enjoy seeing on there? Is it the behind the scenes? Is it the things that people get up to? Is it their routines or habits, or how they spend their time, or what they read, what they listen to? Think about how you can just tie all of that in for yours as well. Now, selling on social media. Instagram stories is absolutely key. Absolutely key. We have got to make it as easy as we can for people. So if you are an avid watcher of my Instagram stories, you might have seen me say something like, I've got this thing coming. If you would love to join it, just message me saying I'm in and I'll send you the link. The amount of people that sometimes even just message me saying I'm in when I haven't even said that, I've just put the link on my Instagram stories, is crazy. People are lazy in the nicest possible way. They've got so much going on. They don't want to have to click the link and do the thing and go over here. They're in Instagram mode. They're like, I'm on Instagram. If I click the link, I have to leave Instagram. No, I'm in Instagram mode. I'm in that like whole bubble of Instagramness. So that's a really, really like fun way, I think, to just jazz it up a little bit. And again, if we're really thinking about our sales strategy on Instagram, you might have one day that you say, if you would love me to send you the link, or if you would love to go on the wait list for this, or if you would love to purchase this thing, just reply saying yes, or reply saying I'm in and I'll send you the link, and have that as one day. The other day you might just say DM for more information. The other day you might say, now on the website, here's the link, and actually put the link in your Instagram story. Another day you might direct people to your profile, to the link in your bio. So again, you can use different strategies so that you're still selling on your Instagram stories regularly, like multiple times a week, but without it constantly always being the same call to action. That's just going to kind of spread the interest. It's going to get people engaging in different ways. There are people that just watch videos on social media. There are people that never watch videos at all. There are people that watch videos with the sound off. There are people that actually just want to read text on a social media post. There are people that just love that I'm in. I have a client, she will always do the I'm in approach if she wants to sign up to something, always, even if I don't put it there. And she always has some exclamation marks. I'm like, yes. So think about different ways that you can get people to purchase and how you can make it so easy. So easy. We also need to be really consistent. You will need to be more consistent when it comes to generating sales than you ever think you will. Pre-COVID, somebody would need to see something 7 times to remember it and to trust it enough to buy. So maybe they see your thing or your profile 7 times. The latest study, which I think was done, I want to say beginning of last year, said that that had gone up to 25 times. So somebody has to engage with your brand, see your thing 25 times before you stay in their mind, before they know, like, and trust you. So we've got to be consistent with our message, with how we show up, with promoting our things, so that we're really giving people, I know, 25 times, Sophie, it's horrendous. Just so that we can really be at the forefront of their minds. When it comes to selling, so let's say I'm going to be doing a launch, what month we're in, January? Next month, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing a launch for the Spritz Success Accelerator, which is my 12-week group program. When I promote that, I won't just be doing a post saying, the Spritz is back. This is my favorite group program. It's not my favorite. It's one of my favorites. One of my favorite group programs. I love hosting this. I love running this. This is the vibe. That's not enough. To just do one post about this program that's coming up isn't enough. So I'm going to be thinking about how I can showcase it and share about it and mention it and talk about it in a number of ways. So if I was setting up the Facebook group for it, I might put that on my story. I might do a story saying, I've just had a discovery call with somebody that is going to be like the most amazing fit. She's said yes to the spritz. I'm so excited to support her when the program starts. Really subtle subconscious selling. I might do a story saying, oh, I'm just mapping out all the sessions. So excited. We start in a couple of weeks. So again, people just keep seeing this name, the Spritz Success. And they're like, oh, what is the Spritz Success? What is this program? From a selling perspective, I'm also going to be trying different approaches for that as well. So I know that some people will just buy. They don't need to have the call with me. They will just see it and be like, yes, I want to buy this. I'm in. Other people might want to have a call. They might have some questions. That's fine. That's perfect. So I know that I'm going to be seeing how many times I can just pop you on mute, Hayley. I know that I'm going to be seeing how I can be consistent with the message and give people the option, give them what they need to see about this thing to trust it to buy. Here's something to consider as well when we think about selling. A lot of people just sell what you get. Whether it's a product or a service, they just sell, this is the thing. This is what you get. This is the tangible thing that you get. There are so many different reasons people buy things. Sometimes people buy things to be a part of something. Sometimes they buy it because of FOMO. Sometimes they buy something because they've saved up for it. Sometimes they buy something for a specific result, to feel a certain way, to look a certain way, to achieve something, to have something as like the outcome. There are people that buy something just because it's you and they know, love and trust you so much that they're just like, yep, I just want this. So when you think about selling on social media, again, really try and break down why people buy. What are like the things that make people buy? So as an example for coaching, some people buy based on an outcome. So they want to know how to do X, Y, and Z. So they buy based on that. Sometimes people will buy because they want to know, or the reason that they buy is because they know that they get X for X. So within this coaching program, you get 12 weeks of support, 6 live sessions, and that's what you get. Sometimes they buy because they want to be supported. Sometimes they buy because they want to be a part of a community. So if they're in a membership or something. So pick apart the reasons that people would buy what it is you have to offer. Think about the different things that encourage people to buy. So is it saving time? Is it saving money? Is it just for a happiness factor? Is it because of FOMO? Has FOMO made them buy? So really think about getting really clear on what that is for your business. How can we make it even easier so that there aren't 16 links that people have to jump through to just be able to buy? Keep it super simple. Limited availability is an interesting one as well. It's great when it's genuine. I know I don't have to say this, but I'm going to. Please, please, please don't ever use fake FOMO or fake scarcity to generate sales. It's so obvious and so clear. But when it is limited, when you genuinely only have 2 of this product left in this size or this color, or if the sale really is ending on this certain date, or if there really is a small number of spaces available, share it, but it has got to be genuine. So think about whether that applies. Sometimes that doesn't apply for businesses. That's fine. But if it does, do share it. And I would say as well for service providers, I think a lot of your audience will just assume that they can just have you when they want you. And that isn't always the case. So if you are somebody that has a limited number of spaces, make sure that that's coming up quite consistently in your messaging as well. Why do people love buying from you? So we've had a little look at why people like to follow you. We've had a little look at what they actually enjoy about your account. Why do they like to buy from you? Why you? Why not somebody else? That I think is quite nice to kind of sit with, understand, have in the back of your mind. So if they love your vibe, if they love your personal service, if they love the outcome, the finished product of what you provide, maybe it's because you are in the best location for them. Maybe it's because you offer the level of support that they desire. Really think about this, because this can be part of your strategy as well. And like I said a little bit earlier on, absolutely have a work with me post. I had a client, it was probably nearly a year ago now, I'd say, and she came to me and she said, my social isn't working for me. Like, people just don't inquire, they don't buy. Can you have a look? And I was like, absolutely. So I had a look, and I had to scroll a really long way to find any information of how people could work with her. And she had a gorgeous account that had lots of quotes and pretty things, and it was all lovely, and it had a really nice vibe. And I said, just looking at this, it isn't clear what you actually do. And you haven't given people the option to purchase from you. And we're going to look into this even more tomorrow in terms of actually being so crystal clear in what you do that people land on your profile and they're like, yes, I know. Because there are many accounts out there that just share beautiful quotes and beautiful pictures and inspirational things. So it's got to be really clear that people can buy from you. This is how, this is what you do. And again, that will all tie. It all tie together when we think about the content that you're creating, the strategy around it, and building that know, like, and trust, and building the brand, how you want people to feel. Next thing, free launch selling. This is a really, really, really good strategy if you are launching something new, or if you're relaunching something, or if you are opening up your diary, or if you've got something coming that you want to generate a bit of that buzz and excitement. Again, people are nosy, people get FOMO quite a lot, and people like to feel a part of something. Let's say you've got a launch coming up. So I'll use the Spritz Success as the example of this, because it's quite timely. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. In a couple of weeks, well, towards the end of Feb, I will be starting that program again. It's a 12-week program. So many people have been through it before. I think I've read it about 7 or 8 times. So many people have done it, and I absolutely love it. I think it's brilliant, brilliant program. Earlier this month, I actually ran the early bird for it, which had 2 epic bonuses, and the bonuses had a value. I think it was about £1,500 for the value of the bonuses. The program's only £1,750. So the bonuses were like, oh, it's like nearly doubling the value of the program. So I ran at the beginning of this month, like an early bird launch for that with those bonuses. They expired on a certain day, and then they're gone. So what that's done is, before I even go into launch next month, I've already got some people signed up, which is amazing. I then know that, okay, we're going to be starting in a couple of weeks. So I need to make sure that I'm starting to mention the Spritz a little bit more on my social media, a little bit more on my podcast, a little bit more around and about the place, maybe showcasing some case studies of that program. I am also going to do a live workshop week. So I love hosting these in my Facebook group. So I'm going to be doing that in a couple of weeks. And I'm going to be building up quite a lot of excitement around, firstly, the workshop week, but also the fact that the Spritz is coming back. When I do the workshop week, there will be bits on social media that are aligning to the workshop week, but there will also be bits on social media that are aligning to the Spritz returning. The Spritz then technically opens the doors at the end of workshop week. So I'm going to be putting a countdown on my social media to the fact that the doors are officially opening to one of my favorite programs again, and they're opening on Friday, the 17th of Feb. So we can generate that bit of excitement. So I can say, you know, something exciting is coming. Here's this thing that's coming. Don't forget something's landing on Friday the 17th. So we can get people excited. People buy when they are feeling an emotion around something, hopefully a positive emotion. So how can you make sure that if you've got something coming, you can start to generate some excitement around it? You can start to be lit up about this. Because I think that always comes across. If I went on social media and I was like, Spritz is back, we start in a couple of weeks. I mean, I'm even bored just trying to be that boring. It's not going to generate any feeling in anybody. but I genuinely love the fact that this program's coming back because I love it. It's brilliant, like literally brilliant. And I know I would say that, but it actually is. So I'm going to share that excitement on social media. So think about the things that you've got coming up. Think about your launches. Think about your products or your services. And if you've got something coming up, thinking whether something like an early bird bonus might work. Sometimes I've got clients that will launch something on like a 24-hour like special launch investment discount code for 24 hours only, and then it's regular price. Wait lists also work explicably well. So if you've got something that you know is coming back in stock or that you're launching anytime soon, encourage people to join a wait list for waitlist only bonuses. When that waitlist only bonus goes out into their inbox, you can share on your social media. Those of you on the wait list, check your inbox because there's something special landed in there. Again, this is going to generate the FOMO, the intrigue in people thinking, oh my gosh, what have I missed out on there? What have I missed out on the wait list? Is it too late to join the wait list? So it's a really great way to be thinking about getting sales in before you even officially launch the thing. It's looking at it from a slightly multi-pronged approach. So you aren't solely relying on posting on social media that the thing is now live. If you have what's called an open cart or a sales phase, so we launched the thing on this day, doors close on this day, if that applies for your business. If it doesn't apply for your business, it's like, okay, doors are open here. We're going to keep selling the thing. After the doors open or the product or service is available, you've got to be talking about that thing a lot, an awful lot. So sharing when people purchase it, sharing the excited message when somebody says, oh my gosh, yes, I've just bought this. I can't wait to receive it in the post. I've been wanting this color for so long. I've been wanting this thing, or I've been wanting to join this thing for so long. Share that excitement. Again, you can crop someone's name out, but people will be much more likely to buy when they know other people are buying. Nobody wants to be the only person to buy something. And again, it brings in that excitement piece. If people see that somebody else is so excited, oh yeah, I'm really excited as well, actually, it's really going to generate that positive emotion. And when you have that positive emotion, you're going to be getting people into a really good vibe. So think about what that would look like for you. For me, when I do the spritz, I know that the doors will close on a certain date and then we'll start. So my kind of promo phase for, let's say, the 7 or 10 days that I'm kind of in launch phase, I'm going to consistently be talking about that program, the sort of person it's for, the sort of things that I'll be coaching in that program. I'm going to be sharing case studies and screenshots and social proof, all aligned to that program. And I promise you, I will be talking about it so much that I will be sick of talking about it. If you get to that point with your social media, you're talking about it enough. If you don't, talk about it more. People follow you for a reason. They like your work, they're interested in what you do. And we have to make sure that we are getting our mindsets into a place of we get to serve, we get to sell, we get to show up and showcase our beautiful products and services. And your mindset has got to be in the right place about that. There has always got to be a mindset of optimism around your social media. I trust that things are working out, but also that the post is going to do well for you, or the Instagram story is going to do well for you. If you put something out to the world on social media with the mindset of, it'll probably flop, but I'll put it out anyway, it will flop. 100% it will flop. So make sure that you're putting it on just thinking, oh, what if one person sees this and they love it and they buy it and they tell their friends and then a few more people buy it? Or what if one person sees that thing and shares it with their friend and then that friend becomes a raving fan? We've got to think longer term about our social media. We've got to think longer term about the content we create. One of the biggest mindset shifts I made around creating content a few years ago was if one of my posts helps one person, to me, that's a win. I know it's going to help more people than that. But it made sure that I wasn't setting myself up for failure, saying, well, actually, I want 100 people to save this post within an hour, or this post better be the one that gets me a client. That's such a mindset of lack. Such a mindset of lack. So I create content thinking, right, if this can help one person, that is absolutely perfect. And it will always help more people than that. So think about your mindset around creating content. Is it the probably won't work anyway? And what is your mindset around selling on social media? Because we could do a whole session on that, but that's not the vibe of this. So do you love to sell on social media? Do you feel frustrated to sell on social media? Or do you actually feel quite lit up and excited that you get to do this with social media, which is free, which is amazing? So we've got to start thinking a little bit more about our ideal clients here. Know, like, trust, and how can they feel understood? No matter what it is that you sell, how can they feel that little bit more understood? So you get them and they feel like you got them. They feel something about your content because you've got this underlying message of your brand and the feeling that you want to kind of help them feel while they engage with you. Really think about the different types of content. Think about your crunch points, those magical moments. You could have gone one of two ways. You're like, right, we're going this way, and here you are today in this room. Think about your crunch points. I would love to hear your crunch points. Feel free to share them in the Facebook group, and then we can all celebrate and cheer each other on. Think about your story. Think about what makes you special. Think about the sort of client, the sort of content that your audience love to see, and that's going to paint this whole picture. If somebody landed on your profile today, having never seen you, what do they need to see and how do you want them to feel? Play to your strengths. Play to your strengths. That is so, so, so key. And then have a little think about how you can be a little bit more strategic with your posts. I post organically every single day. That was a goal I set for myself at the start of the year. I know it makes a massive difference for inquiries, for my reach, for everything when I'm actually doing that. I also have clients that actually sit down once a week or once every other week and actually schedule everything. It has got to be what works best for you. For me, I outsourced my social media 18 months ago, and I was still writing, and then I had a team that were creating the graphics and posting and doing hashtag strategy and research. I had to sit down and create 2 weeks of content at a time. And it felt so like wrong on all the levels, because I'd write 2 weeks of content, send it over to her, and it would be like 3 weeks until that content came out. And I'd look at it and think, this isn't even current anymore. So for me, I decided that it felt good for me to like create organically every day, but I've still got a plan. So that plan is, over the course of this week, I know that I need to talk about mindset twice, marketing twice, money twice, and I'll pop a little personal story in there or a case study or something. So the strategy is there. It is fairly simple, but it works. And then I know that I've got to have this accountability with myself, that I have got to post every single day, because it makes a world of difference. Last year, I actually shared that you've got to be in the right frame of mind to create content. And I believed that at the time, but now I'm like, I have got to hold myself accountable to this. I've got to get myself into the place of knowing I've got a message to share. You cannot wait to feel motivated or inspired or energized or creative or in flow. You've got to be able to get yourself into that state. Map out a little bit of a plan for selling on social media as well, for selling on your stories. And maybe you want to start that from today for the rest of this week. Maybe you want to have a little rough plan for the new month as we start a new month tomorrow. But start to see how you can be a little bit more consistent with your selling on your stories, and really think about why people buy. What are the reasons that they buy what you have to offer? What are the things they look for? What are the things that actually keeps returning customers coming back to you? Why do people keep buying from you? And how can we think about that when we're promoting? And have a little think if anybody's got any launches coming up next month, or if you're wanting to kind of relaunch something or launch a new package or a price or a new product, have a little think if there's anything that we can kind of do in the Q&A tomorrow about actually kind of mapping that out so that you've got that kind of pre-launch phase, your launch phase, and then the continued kind of phase going forwards. Let's have a look at some questions. Okay, how do you feel about paid sponsored posts? I get more inquiries via Facebook than anywhere else. Facebook are very, 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 very clever and very sneaky. When you post organically on social media, what happens is they're going to push it out to a certain number of people. They are obviously a business. They want you to promote your post. They want you to put money in their platform. So they're very sneaky in two ways. Sometimes they'll give you epic reach, like absolutely amazing reach. And you're like, wow, look at this reach from this one organic post. I created this post and it's reached all these people. Then it gives you that little notification that says, your post is doing great. Why not push it even further? Why not boost it for just £10 to reach up to 50,000 people? And you're like, oh, £10 isn't much. I could do £10. They've then got you hooked in this cycle. So they will then drop the reach of your next organic post and say, well, why not boost it for just £5 and we'll give you 10,000 reach? And you're like, okay, it's only £5. Before you know it, your organic reach will never be the same again. And you will always be having to throw money into ads or sponsoring posts or boosting posts. Personally, I avoid it with any accounts that I do, regardless, because I think it is so much better to actually look at building that. And we're going to go into like the kind of like mechanics, if you like, of Facebook and Instagram tomorrow. But I think you are so much better actually creating content, sharing it in groups where you can, getting people engaging with it however you can, thinking about what the purpose behind the content is as well. Is it brand awareness? Is it actually just growing your following? Is it website traffic? Is it sales or filling in a form or getting people to inquire in some way? So have a little think about what the purpose of the content is, and then we can start to think about what strategy might be best for you for that one. Haley says, I love that you don't schedule. Everyone always says batch and schedule feels so unauthentic and uncomfortable. No, ain't nobody got time for that. No, honestly, I literally post on the cuff every single day and it's whatever is on my mind, literally whatever is on my mind. I've got this plan that this week I'm going to do my 2 mindset, my 2 money, my 2 marketing. And today it might be that actually I want to talk about marketing because we've just done this marketing talk. Tomorrow it might be actually that I want to talk about money or mindset or whatever, but I know that I need to talk about certain topics throughout the week. And honestly, it's whatever is on my heart, whatever I feel like talking about, I talk about, and that works well for me. Do you advise having a separate Instagram account for personal stuff and one for your business? Oh, that's a good question. Personally, I do. My personal one is very, very small and very sporadic, let's just say. But I think there has to be a bit of your personality in your business account. So like if I'm going for lunch with a friend, I put that on the Instagram story of my business account because it's like, it's what I'm up to as the person that owns this business. This is how I spend my day. This is what I get up to. This is why I love having my own business so that I've got that freedom. So there are personal aspects of what goes onto my business account. That's actually the beauty, I think, with Instagram stories as well, is that it can be the more raw, behind the scenes, unedited, like genuine, authentic, this is what we've got going on. And I really, really like that about Instagram stories. Whereas my grid, it's almost like my window shop window, not window shop, my shop window. It's what do people need to see about me to trust me? What do people need to see to learn more or to feel educated or inspired? So I would absolutely put personal things on your Instagram story of your business account. And if you wanted to have a personal account that's just really random, like my personal account is cars, farm, occasionally shopping, that's about it. It's just really personal things. So that's what kind of feels good for me, but definitely have some of your personality coming into your business account. Alrighty, do we have any questions or anything that anybody would love me to go over again? Feel free to unmute yourselves if there's anything that you would love to share or love to ask. No? I'm sure that something might come up, whether it's later today or through tomorrow. So feel free to send me a message on any of the social medias. Feel free to pop it in the Facebook group or email, and then we can just make sure that we get that answered tomorrow. Tomorrow's session is all about kind of like the foundational bits of like setting up the accounts or taking the accounts to the next level. We're going to be looking at your profile, statistics, back-end bits and pieces, call to actions, hashtags, really making sure that we can raise your profile that little bit more. No worries, Sophie, thank you very much. So it'll be a little bit more nitty-gritty. And for tomorrow, if you can, bring your phone. So I'll talk you through certain things, especially looking at the stats and things, so we can just make sure that you can really, really kind of see that, and we'll go through that together tomorrow. And if there's any questions, we can answer those tomorrow as well. Thank you so much for being here live. And if you're catching the replay, again, if there's any questions or anything, just let me know. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow. And like I said, any questions, feel free to share them ahead and we will go from there. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, ladies.